At Clarity Corner with Christiana, we peel back the layers that are clouding your ability to see and show you ways you can reclaim your life and your communication. It's not what you know, it's what you implement that makes all the difference. Welcome to Clarity Corner with Christiana. So happy to have you join me today. Today, we're talking about how do you set up your workspace for success? How do you set that environment up? Because here's the thing. Do you want to increase your productivity?
Always.
Are you looking to gain more time?
Always.
Exactly, right. So that's our biggest obstacle for people getting organized in their environment, right? It reflects your state of mind. And if you're not organized, it clutters your thinking, it lowers your productivity, and it increases your stress. So today, we are going to be diving into how do you set up your workplace for success. So I want to talk about the word environment. Now, environment, think of it like environment versus willpower. So your environment is like a marathon, right? It's going to sustain over a very long duration. Willpower works over the short term. So what happens is everybody sets these intentions and they're like, or these goals, and they're like, yes. And you see it in New Year's resolutions all the time, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. And you're excited and you start and you have all this zest and you're excited, but then the willpower fades because it's like a sprint. It's not a marathon. So what happens is if your environment isn't set up to support the behaviors you want to be having, you end up going back to your old behaviors. And then you play this, let me get caught up. Oh, I fall behind. Let me get caught up, fall behind. Have you had that experience?
Yes.
So it's nothing new, right?
It's like looking at my mailbox over here, like, oh, I thought I had that halfway empty a month ago.
Exactly. And clutter is insidious, right? It creeps in slowly. You don't really see it coming. You go, oh, there's just a couple things. Okay, I'll get to it. And then there's like a couple more. And then you look up like a week later or whatever you see. And then all of a sudden it's like you have this big pile. And now it's not just exactly. Now it's not just this little project. Now you actually have to carve out a chunk of time to handle it. And that's what's really important. So we talk about setting your goals during 1 week. How do we do that? Then we talk about what systems do you need to support those. Now we're talking about setting up your environment to make sure if your willpower fades, you've got an environment that's going to support you in that lull while you get your steam back. So that way you don't keep going forward. Like you've heard it, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Exactly. Right. So I want to have a deeper look. I want to take a deeper look into this. So when you're looking to organizing, I've said this before, there's like past, present, and future organizing. There's all the stuff in the past that you've let go, and now they're like big projects and they've created, and they're like larger time slots, right? So maybe it's the garage, or people often do this with their taxes is a really important one, right? That's coming up. Right? They like wait until the last minute and now it's this big project. So when you have that, it's like most people put their life on hold to handle the past, but then what happens? The future accumulates or the present accumulates, and then now you have another big pile. So you're constantly doing that ebb and flow. The challenge is if to shift that behavior. So that way, what we're doing now is we're cleaning up a little bit of the past. We're handling what's coming in the moment, in the present. So we're like, okay, what do we have to stay on top of things? And then what are we working towards for the future? But when we're looking at setting up our environment, I have a great process I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit later, but I want to dive into this because if we don't really understand why this is happening and what's causing it, we don't handle it and we go back to our old patterns. Have you tried before? So Bobby's the one answering if you guys are curious. So have you tried before to like get yourself caught up, but it's the maintenance that tends to fall behind?
Yes.
And what have you done in the past for that?
I have to use a combination of, I have to use like iPhone reminders for certain things that are time sensitive and Post-it notes for things that I know I'm going to be at a certain place and see them at a certain time. And then, just generally, sometimes I have to leave a tab up on my computer just to remind, like this was the website you were supposed to get information off of or something like that.
If you see my website, the running joke with my accountability partner is that I usually have 10 to 15 tabs open, because as I go through the day and I have the things I have to get handled, I have to go and complete them all at the end of the day. But as the day goes on, these tabs expand, and then my processing on my computer gets slower and slower.
It's like that times a week for me. It's like, you know.
Exactly. So what we want to look at is, why is organizing so important? Because if we don't understand the mechanics of it, we're not going to have a bigger understanding. Also, I want to give you the phone number. So if you guys want to call in or you have a question, I want you to be able to call in. It's 727-441-3000. So you can follow me there, or you can call in and get any questions answered there. Also, you can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Clarity Strategist, THECLARITY Strategist, STRATEGIST. Had to think about that for a moment. Make sure I didn't get dyslexic.
Spelling bee. Now say it again.
Exactly. So facebook.com/The Clarity Strategist. So you can follow me there. So again, but the whole goal is that I'm here to be able to help you. I set this show up to make sure that I can help you improve your lives, because I've been at this for over 2 decades. I've seen people just getting started all the way. I've worked in billionaires' homes, and there's nothing you can throw at me that I haven't seen. But again, I really see with everybody who's, especially coming out of this pandemic, there's a bunch of organizational challenges that have come up. We've been working from home. We have split locations. Well, how do you stay organized in 2 locations? How do you manage your workspace at home? Have you set it up? Or is it at the point like my husband where it's accumulating and I have to reset him? So let's look at, why is organizing so important? There's 3 symptoms of a disorganized environment. The first one is it drains your energy. Have you ever walked into a room and went, ugh, like it just depresses you when you walk into it? You're like, oh God, I have so much to do.
Yes.
Exactly, right?
This room I'm sitting in right now.
That's perfect, right? So I always say the best assessment of a space on whether it's working for you or not working for you is, do you walk in and does it make you feel heavier, or does it make you feel lighter? So does it drain your energy, or does it give you energy? So that's the first thing. And the next one is, it lowers your productivity. So if you're not organized, you're forgetting to follow up, you're missing deadlines, you're losing your credibility as well. But it also, a cluttered environment really blocks your ability to make decisions, because you can't see things clearly. But according to different personality types, each personality type organizes their environment differently. Some people like a lot of things around to be visual recall. Like in Vegas, I worked with a personal injury attorney, and he had to see everything. Well, he had papers everywhere. And as a personal injury attorney, you have to submit a claim against somebody, and then they'll submit a counterclaim, and you only have an exact amount of time. And if you don't come back with a counter offer within that deadline, the attorney is held liable because they've missed the deadline. So that's a problematic thing. And he had all of his files all over. And what we did, because he needed to be able to see things, we put all of his files in his bookcase. So we had one file of things that he had to then go back to the clients and get the offer. And he had one bookcase shelf. And if he went beyond that shelf, that was like his max limit. So when it started filling up, he went in and actually cleaned that out. So it was a way, in 10 seconds or less, for him to know exactly where he stood. So making sure you have that uncluttered environment is incredibly important. And the third is, it robs your profitability, because again, when you miss deadlines and you miss opportunities because you weren't ready, you lose that credibility. It hurts your reputation. And there was a story of a woman who actually created the bank methodology that I share with the personality training. And she was selling financial information, and she was meeting with a guy who was very blueprint. You follow the rules, you set an appointment, very much like you show up when you say, you do what you say you're going to do, you follow through. It's very much a very structured thing. When you meet them, you're early. On time is late. Early is on time is late. And so he said, I'm ready to sign all the papers. And he was going to get a policy. And then he was going to open up his offices with his agents to be able to have her go to sell them as well. Well, she showed up late to the appointment thinking she already had the sale. And she said, "Oh God, I'm so sorry." And he said, and she reached in her bag to pull out the contract. He goes, "No." He said, "If this is how you behave before you have my money, how will you behave when you have it?" And if you think, I mean, it's just the dagger of that, right? So it wasn't just that one sale. It was her reputation, any referrals. It was her confidence, right? So it's really important to understand that having these cluttered environments, and some people say, "Oh, I'm a piler." Well, that's fine. But if you are missing deadlines, if you're missing stuff, then it's something that should be handled, unless that's okay with you. And then you can have whatever experience you want. Do we have a caller?
Yes, Angie's on the line.
Oh, cool. Well, please bring Angie out.
She's here.
Hey, Angie.
Hey.
So, Angie, tell us a little bit about who you are. And actually, I do know you've done your personality typing. So if you would just share your personality type as well, but tell people a little bit about who you are.
Well, who I am is I am actually a very, very organized person. My domain is in sales.
Mm-hmm.
I love to sell. And so to be, as a sales professional, to be successful, you have to have systems in place.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, just by me saying that, I mean, you can guess what my personality is, right?
Yes.
I mean, systems, processes, and to me, there's no other way to be successful. I mean, I can't see any other way. I mean, I've studied the personalities, and I'm like, no, you need to have plan, you need to have processes, you need to have steps in place,
mm-hmm.
and then you just follow through with them.
Excellent. Well, so I just want to give a little backstory. Angie, we met when I was working with Blair Singer, and what role were you doing for Blair?
I would have to say I was a sales executive, right? And that involves a lot of follow-up.
Exactly. I was just going to call you his closer. Because she was the one, like, she could pick anything. Like, I mean, this woman can sell. She's amazing, but not selling you, but actually finding out what it is that you need and then getting you that piece. And so she's genius at it. But when I met her, she had it all in her head, but she actually didn't know. You didn't know you had a process at the time. You were just like, this is just what I do. And we mapped out your process. So you have done the clarity mapping with me. You've done that organizational piece. And I know you to be incredibly organized. And I asked you to come on the show today because of the situation that you're facing right now. So would you just tell people a little bit about that? Because it's important. We all have things that disrupt our lives, and you know what's going on with me, and I'll share a little bit more about it. But what's going on with you right now, Angie?
So right now I'm going through a house renovation that I've been waiting for years. I mean, for months. I mean, a year sounds like years. Actually, it's been like 16 months.
Mm-hmm.
Because where I am currently, there's a shortage of labor, shortage of parts. I mean, I've even been told I have to wait like 12 weeks before anything. So I think that's how it is nowadays. So finally, it's happening. The renovation is happening, and so I get a phone call like about maybe a week and a half ago. We're ready for your work, for your job. And it was like, I'm not ready. So, but because I waited so long, and I know if I didn't do it, what would happen? That I would have to wait another, 6 months, 3 months. And
correct.
I have been living in, I would say, organized chaos, but chaos in boxes. I got boxes in the hallway. I've got boxes everywhere because it didn't make sense for me to just put things wherever I wanted to put them until the construction was done. Yeah, my option was a storage, but then if I had things in storage for 18 months, I figured I don't need them anymore. But there were things that I truly like enjoy, and I wanted to have them around. So I've been living from boxes to boxes, shifting boxes from right to left, but they're organized, okay?
So you said a couple things that I want to just circle back to. First of all, they didn't give you any notice, and you're a blueprint. You're all about planning, so making sure you're ready. So one, they didn't give you any notice, and there's actually no agenda. It's very loose. So you actually don't have a plan. You don't know. They said they're starting, but they started and then they stopped for a while because they didn't have stuff. So you're kind of left in limbo, right?
Yes. And I tell you, this is painful. It's extremely painful.
Bobby's cringing on the other side.
How could this be?
Bobby's a blueprint too, Angie. So
Yeah.
he's silently over there going, oh, because now you're stuck. Yeah, all your stuff's disrupted. You don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen, when parts are coming in. So you're now completely in limbo at their mercy, right?
Yes.
When your life will come back together. So this is perfect.
Absolutely.
This is a perfect topic for today. So it's like, how can you find, like you said, you have organized boxes, but how can you create a little space of what's the minimum? We're going to talk about the minimum method, which you know about, but how can you create the minimum method? What's the minimum you need in order to stay functioning, in order to keep yourself going? And we're going to talk about that today because you are already very organized, but I see you struggling more than I've ever seen you struggle.
Oh, tell me about it. And it's disrupting everything. I mean, even the universe must be hearing it as well, be feeling it, because even my internet has been disrupted since Monday. I mean, it never happened before. Something as simple as, I just need the cable moved. Like a 15-minute job that normally takes time. The tech comes in. They're really very nice about it. It's been dragging on for 4 days. They've come back 2 or 3 times. So I think it's kind of reflecting that way. And that's also throwing me off as well, because now is it disorganized in the house? It's now affecting my work.
Exactly. So
without the internet.
This is perfect for today because we're talking about the minimum method. So let's go over a couple steps to the minimum method, because maybe there's something that you can pull from it for what you're doing. Because for me, I've been sharing before that both of my moms, so my mother-in-law and my mom, are one in rehab and one in assisted living, and one doing end of life care and one trying to get functional again so she can be on her own. But I don't know that that's going to happen. And so we're managing so many different people, and communication is essential in this, especially organization. How do I keep all these people organized? So it's just been just a huge challenge, as you know, because you've stayed in communication with me this whole time. So it's like, it's a huge challenge for that. But then, so I have to scale back what I'm doing for my business and lower the gradient of, okay, what's the minimum I need to be getting done on a consistent basis in order to keep my business moving along. So there's 2 different ways of looking at it. So the minimum method is really just 7 steps. It's very simple. And each personality can create this in a way that makes sense for them. But you love steps, so there's 7 steps. So the first one is, what is your workspace for? You have to define, what are you going to be doing there? Are you running a new business? Will you be working with anyone else in this space? Is it a space that you have just to yourself, like it's a room you can shut the door, or is it part of another room? Because that'll determine how you leave things in your office, in your workspace. And so when it comes to that, so what would you say for you? Is there a space that you have that's dedicated just for you, or are you kind of in the middle of other things?
You know what? I thought I had a place until they started to do deliveries today.
Oh my God.
But yes, I do have a space for myself normally. It's like, okay, this is it. I can close the door. But with them coming in with the deliveries and which was supposed to happen yesterday, but delayed. And so it came today, and it's like, where do we put everything? Again, it was like, well, I was ready for you yesterday.
Exactly.
So yeah. So that throws me off.
So what I want to do, I want our listeners just to think about, what is your space that you need to have organized? What is that environment that you're going to need for your workspace? I want you to think about that while you're doing it. We're going to head to a quick break, and then we'll be right back with Angie and Bobby.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you hoping to grow your business but not sure how? Has your business flattened out? It may be your messaging. This is Maureen Famiano with MEF Media. I've been in the TV broadcasting business for more than 30 years, and I enjoy helping businesses and entrepreneurs go to the next level. It's about strategy and branding, finding the right story to tell, and then getting media exposure. I'm here to help you grow your business. Find me on Facebook or my website at MEF Media, and let's launch your next chapter today.
A few years ago, my skin was a mess. It was dry, lifeless, and aging fast. My busy travel schedule teaching yoga across the world was really catching up on me. I tried everything I could find, and it just got worse. So I created my own product based on 100% natural ingredients, and what a difference. Now my skin is glowing and radiant, and I look and feel 10 years younger. The serum I used is called F3. It's our best seller, and I've created a whole range of products to suit all skin types. So if you want actual results using 100% natural skincare, visit formulaflawless.com.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to Clarity Corner with Christiana. So we're talking about how do you flip your workspace and create a successful environment for success. So we have Angie on the line, and she's talking about totally organized human being. She's going through construction at her house, and everything has been disrupted. And as the personality type of blueprint, which is organization, planning, structure, and systems, and she doesn't have any of that, it's throwing everything into a loop. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about before the break, what is your workspace for, or what is your environment for? So you can use this for your environment as well. So maybe it's just in your home, in your living space, right? So even Angie, with everything going on in your house, is there one space that you can reclaim to keep organized and nice while they're doing all of the renovations?
Definitely. The bedroom.
The bedroom.
I got a guest bedroom, and I just retreated there.
Perfect. So you have your bedroom and the guest bedroom, so you can keep those in good condition while there's disruption in other areas.
Absolutely correct.
Perfect. So then what I'm looking at, so you can take one space, so your workspace, what you want to do with your workspace is, like I was talking about before you came on, I'm not sure if you heard, Angie. So if you walk in a room and it feels heavier, that usually drains your energy. If you walk in a room and you feel lighter, it usually feels like it's giving you energy. So your environment can support you or derail you, depending on how you have it set up. So what the second step is, pull everything out of the space. So it's almost like which is great because you have all this stuff under construction. You can clean everything out and say, okay, you're pulling everything out of the space. So if you leave the furniture for now, but the goal is to give yourself space to work and remove anything that could be a distraction. So the first step is, what is your workspace for? So define it, what you're going to be doing there. And maybe it's just an oasis. You need a place that's not disrupted. That's totally fine. That would be like your bedroom or your guest room. And then you're pulling everything out you're pulling everything out of that space into a staging area. This can be done in one day. So it's not like you're going to leave it there. Everything can be done within one day. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull out anything that's trash. So simple. Step 3, you're just going to take a trash bag and you're going to set the clock and you're going to race against yourself, because if you give yourself too much time, you'll get lost in details. Yes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm hearing you. I'm following you. I can see the picture in front of me.
Perfect. So first you define your workspace, then you pull everything out of that space, not the furniture, but all the items. Then you go through what's trash, and you're going to set the timer, and you move and you play a game against yourself. Step 4 is you're going to pull anything that you can pull for donation. So I had a woman that I worked with in Vegas, and she was a crafter and she loved crafts, and she had 3 trash bags of extra craft stuff that she wasn't going to use. And she donated it to her kids' old elementary school. And the teachers cried. They were so desperate for supplies. And she went back and found 2 more trash bags full of stuff that she could give them. So again, you're setting a timer really quickly, and you're going to pull anything that you can for donation, right? If you're not using it immediately, can it be served somewhere else better? And then can you see that step?
Yep.
Okay. Step 5 is anything that belongs somewhere else. Well, maybe that things always end up in different places, right? So maybe there's pull out everything that belongs somewhere else and go put it where it belongs. Or because your life is disrupted, have a box of things that belong elsewhere and just label it with what's in it, so you know what it is and you can just box it up for right now because your whole life is disrupted. right?
Okay.
Okay. So again, you're doing a timer, you're making it really, really quick. The goal is to move quickly, because if you give yourself too much time, you'll get hooked into, oh, this memory, or, oh, I have to do this. And then you'll end up in a wormhole. And then step 6 is only put back what you need to function, to run your business. So whether it's you're running your business or you're managing whatever you're going to be doing in that space, whatever you defined, you only put back the minimum you need to be successful.
Mhm.
So that way you don't have all those extra clutter items around that are going to distract you. It's going to help you stay focused. And then
That helps.
yeah, right. And again, you want to think, what is the minimum? Okay, well, I need my computer, I need my keyboard, I need ink, I need paper, right? I need my printer. What else? I need pens, I need this. So you have your basic supplies, but I'm a like there's women who love to shop. Okay, that's not me. But I love to shop for office supplies. So I have a ridiculous amount. I have an addiction to office supplies. So for me, that's where I have to like put the brakes on, and I only give myself a quantified amount of space. If I outgrow my space, then I have to either donate it, or I have one space in the garage for backup. And if I outgrow that space, it gets donated. I know I out myself. So again, like, and then the last step is I like to use those file boxes. If you ever go to like Office Depot or like a Staples, they have like those, they used to be 10 for $10, but they've gotten a lot more expensive these days. But the little file boxes that are just cardboard, because they stack really easy, and you can't put more in it than you can lift. So they stack really easy. So you can like take a lot of space. And then you just box up and label everything that's left over, and you stage it in an area to handle in smaller time increments as part of cleaning up your past.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
So can you see a way out? So given the steps that I just shared with you, what do you see as a way out for you? Do you see that this is something you could spend an afternoon and just get something done?
Yes. Number one thing, the bed has to go.
Perfect. Well, then who needs a bed, right? You could call like a homeless rehabilitation shelter, donate it there. You could call a local church. They have families that are in need. They'll come pick it up. Or you could just put it on next door, and somebody will come and pick it up, and then they take it and move it for you, so you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in the closet, there's luggage that doesn't belong there. Now that you mentioned it, things that don't belong, so I can see that and implement that, definitely. And there is a small desk, which can work for now.
Okay.
All I have to do is, like you said, bring my computer, bring my supplies. Once the bed is gone, I have more room.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can create it. And then doing the timer and taking out the stuff, that's kind of like, okay, that's going to be a fun game. I have to make it a fun game, because I'm thinking processes and steps I need to organize. My blueprint is thinking, I need to have boxes ready. But no, since you mentioned just put a timer on it and move it fast.
Yes.
So I got to spring into action with those to make it happen.
I always recommend just getting a set of like a 10-pack of those Staples boxes or Office Depot boxes. Then you usually have plenty more than you need. And then also, when you're going through this step on pulling everything you can for donation, like one of my favorite things were my sister-in-law is amazing, and I asked permission to give her a shout out. She is brilliant. She is going through and cleaning up my mother-in-law's place, and it looks gorgeous. I mean, she's done an incredible job. I mean, seriously, hats off. She's just brilliant as far as like getting things cleaned up and beautiful. But her process is different than my process. Her process is, let me take all the extra stuff, label what it is, and put it in boxes, which she's doing that. What?
You have a YouTube comment when you're ready.
Oh, I do. Okay, perfect. Excellent. I'll take a look.
A question, actually.
Oh, what's the YouTube
Over
question? I can't see it.
It's from Freddie. If I have a collection from the Franklin Mint in a corner, package unopened, what does he do?
Oh, honey, I don't know that we're supposed to say that on the air, but I'll go with it. So my mother-in-law's, one of her favorite things is buying things from, it's the American Mint, like those coins.
Yes, have a giant map, yes.
Yeah, so those like memorial coins that you pay like way more than they're ever worth kind of thing, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah, so we found those, and it's like, what do you do with them? Like, I mean, seriously. And then we have ones, which is even better, where she bought ounce bars of gold. But my husband, they got stuck to the magnet of my husband's wallet. So clearly they're not all gold. Oh God, he's probably calling in. So anyway, but yes, right. So the whole point is if you can find a purpose for it that like it matters to somebody else, it'll be so much easier. So like I was saying, my sister-in-law, she's amazing. So her process is clean the space, get it organized, but stack everything up to handle later. And then I'm taking a room and I'm saying, okay, but I have over 2 decades in organization. So I'm organizing as I go. So the difference is I don't have to come back and touch things twice because I'm like, okay, let me just get rid of all the clutter. And I'm doing this whole minimum method. I picked a room at the house and I'm going through that and doing it there. And so it really does make a difference because it takes all the stress out of it. It's like, oh, what can be donated? Okay, what do I need to keep? And I'm reconstructing files and making sure we have addresses for everything and things like that. So this is something does this feel doable for you, Angie?
Now that you've laid out the steps, it's easy for me to follow. So that certainly is doable. I wrote down the steps, so I'm going to implement them in that room.
Excellent. How about you, Bobby?
I will take that to heart now.
Well, you're both blueprints. You love steps, right?
Yes,
steps are like, yeah, you get it in what, Angie?
There is hope.
There is some hope.
Exactly. But it's so funny. But if you're in action, like my husband, he's like, quick, mover shaker, right? He's like, don't waste time. Bottom line, what are we doing? So for him, going through the house is torture. So my sister-in-law and I are doing it, right? Because he just wants bottom line, like, let's get results. So what's beautiful is he has somebody who can flip his space for him. And so he does have me do that for him. And I'm happy to do it. Honey, I love you. Since he's listening. And see if he comments again. But again, it's like really understand if for an action style personality, you just want quick bottom line. Like I had that, oh my God, why can't I think of it? Injury attorney, right? So I had the personal injury attorney who wanted in 10 seconds to see exactly where he stood. And I put the bookshelves and lined up all the files on the bookshelves. So he knew exactly how much work he had in 10 seconds. And it saved his life. It saved his assistant, like micromanaging him, missing deadlines, because he could see immediately what he had and everything was lined up in date order. So he knew when he needed to get things done. So every personality style does it a little differently. Nurturing personality styles tend to have a lot more stuff in their environment because they like to be around. They like things that make them feel good. So it just depends. Everybody's a little bit different, and it's just honoring that style. The knowledge type of personalities love information, so they learn a lot of stuff. So they usually have a lot of data, a lot of courses, a lot of things. If they have a hobby, they go really into it. And they have a lot. So making sure that they have a confined amount of space and they don't outgrow their space is really important. So Angie, do you have any, what's your takeaway from actually being able to do this minimum method for you?
That's really helpful. It was in my mind to do it, but now that we've laid out the process step by step, it's definitely is doable. You know how it is sometimes you think about something, I should do it this way, that way. Mm-hmm. But with you laying out the step-by-step process, having that system in place and that methodology that I can use, certainly is doable. That's why the first thing, as we were talking, is that, the bed got to go. The bed has to go. The guest bedroom, I know it's the bed, but right now I need an office space. So that's what I can start with. So very, very helpful. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that.
Absolutely. And, God, I've known you for years. Oh my gosh, what? What's it, 2013? Before that, though, right?
Before that, yeah.
Before that. So, but we really started connecting more in 2013. And so we've been around a while, and I have not seen you in this state where you've been really pulled off your game. and so I'm so happy that you were willing to come on and like talk about this because, especially for me too, with what's going on with both of my moms, it's like a lot of my time is double checking. Are they getting the care that they need? I know my mother-in-law is, because we have this, I'm going to give a shout out to Improve Living with Anne-Marie Ricks. She is a local caregiving company, and she is brilliant and wonderful and treats everybody amazing. And she helped my mother in 2018 and helped my mother after her twin sister died. And now she's providing 24-hour care for my mother-in-law. So she's brilliant. So if you guys have anyone who needs care, like outside of a facility, she's amazing. So it's called Improve Living. And then we also have a rehab. So my mom's in rehab. So I have to make sure I'm there and I'm keeping tabs on her and that, she's getting what she needs. So my whole life is disrupted. I have like small chunks that I can work with for my business. And I have all my appointments on certain days. So that way I'm making it more easy to manage. But again, it's like you can apply this minimum method to your schedule. Take out everything that's miscellaneous, right? Really do what needs to be done. What are the main things that have to be doing? So same thing, you can clean up your calendar. What's superfluous in your calendar, right? So it's not just your physical space. It could be that calendar too, as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that, with what's happening these days, nowadays, how our whole life has been turned upside down. It's challenging for me. It's like, I used to be able to just go and have things and get organized. Sometimes I can't even do that because they just are not available in the store. So I have to improvise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So guys, when we come back, stay tuned. We're going to be back here just after this quick break. I will make a point of posting a link to the minimum method on facebook.com/the Clarity Strategist. So you could go there as well, and make sure to stay tuned because I've got another gift for you when we get back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
A few years ago, my skin was a mess. It was dry, lifeless, and aging fast. My busy travel schedule teaching yoga across the world was really catching up on me. I tried everything I could find, and it just got worse. So I created my own product based on 100% natural ingredients, and what a difference. Now my skin is glowing and radiant, and I look and feel 10 years younger. The serum I used is called F3. It's our best seller, and I've created a whole range of products to suit all skin types. So if you want actual results using 100% natural skincare, visit formulaflawless.com.
Are you hoping to grow your business but not sure how? Has your business flattened out? It may be your messaging. This is Maureen Famiana with MEF Media. I've been in the TV broadcasting business for more than 30 years, and I enjoy helping businesses and entrepreneurs go to the next level. It's about strategy and branding, finding the right story to tell, and then getting media exposure. I'm here to help you grow your business. Find me on Facebook or my website at MEF Media, and let's launch your next chapter today.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, everybody. It's Christiana back with the Clarity Corner. So we are talking about how to set your environment up for success. And I have Angie Van Helder on here as well, talking about her struggles with she's a completely organized person, getting completely disorganized, and then now finding her equilibrium. So Angie, I just wanted to find out, what's a takeaway that you have that you could share with our listeners?
Just after hearing you sharing that simple method, I would have to say, take a breather. Just, as much as it's disrupting and it's throwing me off, just be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Take a deep breath and then start implementing the systems, the methodology. Step one, what can I do right now, right, to improve the situation where I'm in currently? And then from there on, just as I move through it slowly, I can see myself walking through the steps and feeling much more comfortable. And like I said, being okay with it.
You said something really important. It's really important to keep it simple. I think a lot of people have a one-size-fits-all approach. I'm giving you an outline, but every personality is going to apply this a little bit differently. And again, it's simple. That's the whole point. If you can keep it simple, it's repeatable, it's maintainable, it's doable. And that's the most important thing. If we get I've had people that I've worked with who have wanted me to implement these crazy in-depth systems because I organize for their brain, not my brain. So they really wanted this in-depth system and they could never maintain it. And they were always frustrated. And I said, well, let's just strip it back. What's the minimum that you can handle? And I did that. And all of a sudden they went from non-functioning to functioning. And they were like, oh, it feels so good. I can succeed. Wow. That's a whole different experience than always feeling like I'm at a state of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So so setting yourself up for success so you can build on little wins over and over and over is incredibly important. So also I want to speak to step 7 about you have all those boxes and they're all stacked up. Just like, my sister-in-law has all those boxes of things we have to go through now.
Yes.
Very important to schedule as part of the past, present, future organizing. Use it as part of your past and set a specific time period every week to handle, like, oh, I'm going to handle a box a week, or I'll handle, you can go through and figure it out. But again, and it's easier too, as you're putting everything away, if you can kind of group like items, that's also really important because it'll help you go through the boxes faster. But like what you said, if you put them in a box, all of a sudden you'll notice you might not need them after a while.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Exactly. Angie, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm just so grateful. I mean, you're like super organized, and it's so nice when when you have a challenge because it makes it accessible for everybody else, right? Like we all feel like we should be able to keep everything, all the plates spinning at all times, but there's ebbs and flows, right? There's going to be times where you feel underwater. There's going to be times where you feel like you're amazing. And it's just, how do you navigate through those without judging yourself too harshly and really just saying, okay, it's just a matter of scaling back and doing what I can do and setting it up, doing the minimum so that way I can keep succeeding, and then I can add more on as I have more mental space available, as I have more time available, right? So it's growing as you find your equilibrium. So now that you're going to set up when are you going to get rid of the bed then?
The bed has to move out tomorrow, and
Okay.
I see my neighbor across the street. Truck is empty. I may just reach out after this call and reach out to him and see whether he can come and help me take it out.
Excellent. And are you just going to donate it, or are you going to sell it, or what are you looking to do with it?
Quickest way, simple way, donate it at this point.
There's also something called, and I want to share it with you. It's called freecycle.org. So freecycle.org. And you have to give something first. I always hesitate giving this because you can get a lot of stuff too. And people who like to collect end up underwater. But that or nextdoor.com is also a really good one. Or just even Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, any of those. If you just say, hey, if you come and take it, you have 24 hours, you can come get it for free. People will show up out of nowhere.
Thank you.
And we've done that a lot. So that works wonders. And then just stage it in your garage or somewhere where they can easily grab it and go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perfect. And then, so once you have that, then set up your workspace. What is it that you need? So that way you have a place where you feel like you've got a reclaimed space for yourself. So even though life is crazy out in the rest of your house, you have one space you can go where you can like keep your head down and do what you have to do.
Definitely, I can see that happening.
Excellent. So the other thing I want to share with you guys before we wrap up for the night, we only have about 9 minutes left. What I want to be able to share with you too, and I've talked about this many times before, is 10-minute magic. 10-minute magic is the easiest way to start reclaiming your life. I've used this with billionaires, and if billionaires can find 10 minutes, so can you. And it's brilliant. It's a game that you play, and it teaches you how to take a large project and just get in motion, because the challenge is most people don't know how to get started, or they don't know how to stop. But once they're started, they're okay. So a lot of times people will be like, oh, once I get in a flow, I'm not going to stop because I don't know if the flow will come back. And then they can never manage their calendar. So the goal is it's teaching you how to start and it's teaching you how to stop. So 10-minute magic is a game. Now, have I shared 10-minute magic with you, Angie?
I heard about it a while ago, but not recently.
Okay. So 10-minute magic will be a godsend for you. It's really, really simple. I did this when I had my office in my bedroom back 2 decades ago. And it was the easiest way to stay organized. And basically all you're going to do is you're going to make a clean spot. That's it. You just pick one spot and you say, okay, I'm just going to clean this one thing. It's easier if it's a physical thing. So it could be, I started with making my bed every day because at that point I didn't make my bed. And sometimes if I'm stressed out and I'm running late, I don't make my bed. So 90% of the time it's done. So you make a clean spot. So in the beginning, what I did is I decided I was working with a client whose house looked like a Ralph Lauren commercial. So I said, ooh, I want my space to look like that. So I got like a really nice throw and I got really nice bedding. So the first day I set the timer for 10 minutes and I set the timer for 10 minutes and then I raced against the clock and I set the whole bed up and it looked amazing. And as I was finishing, the timer went off. So the next day, what I did is you maintain and grow your clean spot. So whatever you clean, you're now responsible for. So it's not like, oh, if you're doing the dishes in the sink, you don't let them all accumulate, you keep it up. So the next day you start with what you started with. So I made my bed, but it only took me like 4 minutes. And then I cleaned the nightstand. And as soon as the timer stopped, I stopped. So then the next day, my bed only took like 2 minutes. The nightstand was done. Then I did the dresser. And what I did is I actually ended up working my way all the way around my bedroom just in a few days. And then it got to the point where I could put my entire space together in 10 minutes or less. So that way it was like I was never more than 10 minutes out of control if things started accumulating. So this is a really powerful thing. And then step 3, the most important, is celebrate your success. You did it. You showed up. 10 minutes. That's all it takes. And the best part about this process is when you're in action doing it, that little voice that kicks your butt that says, oh, you're not doing this and no, and that's constantly critiquing you, it goes quiet because you're in action. So it frees you up from that. And you can even tackle those boxes that you've done in the minimum method in 10-minute increments and say, okay, let me just open it. I'll do 10 minutes and then I'll put the top back on. And you can just do that every day.
That's a wonderful 10-minute magic.
10-minute magic.
I love it.
It's such an easy thing. I can't believe I haven't really shared that with you before. Probably because you're so organized. I didn't think you needed it before this.
Right now I need it. I can use it.
Okay, perfect. So everybody, you can go to claritymapping.com. Go to claritymapping.com and you will see free ebook, 10-minute magic ebook. You can get it downloaded from there for free. I don't even think I asked for your email address at this point. So feel free to go get it. It's a very simple process. It will just transform your life. You can use it to track time. But the challenges with this process is people underestimate its simplicity. They go, oh yeah, it's just 10 minutes. I've had people who were hoarders reclaim their space because 10 minutes was a manageable chunk of time. And they didn't think they were doing all that much. I had one woman whose garage or her basement was so like filled with everything. She couldn't even get in there. It took her 3 months, but she organized every single thing in her basement. 10 minutes a day. That's all she did for 3 months. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, I can reclaim every part of my life in 10 minutes. And so this is really important. You start as soon as you race against the clock for 10 minutes. As soon as the timer stops or goes off, you stop right there. No more, nothing else. And all of a sudden you're going to notice that everything gets easier.
It feels really simple. Sounds very simple. I mean, 10 minutes tomorrow morning happening.
Excellent. Yes. And it's best if you do it like either first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed. So that way you have a system because you always go to bed and you always get up. And so it's one thing that you can usually, and that way, if you don't go to bed at the same time every day, at least you do it right before you go to bed. It's just like a really simple thing, or you do it when you first get up. That's hilarious. Okay. So Angie, thank you so much for being here today. You are amazing. I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing about that. I know it's going to help so many people. Do you have any final comments before we wrap up your visit with us today?
I just want to say thank you so much, Christiana. The biggest takeaway for me is the 10-minute magic, and everybody, it can be done. I mean, all the blueprints out there, it's really feeling very like, it's disturbing. I'm going to say the word because it's like, for us who loves order, that 10-minute magic sounds really magical. And I will give you an update on that, Christiana, this week.
Oh, please do. Yes, absolutely. I would love that. Thank you so much. And Bobby, do you think that that's manageable for you?
I do think it is.
Excellent.
And
what are you going to do your 10-minute magic on?
When I get here first, probably there's a lot of I've had a lot of spots to record this week, so it's I think that's gonna be where I focus that energy too,
Nice.
because they have. It's like I'm always just like one day ahead of them, and I want to get more, like 2 or 3 or a week ahead of all that stuff. So I'm
Excellent.
gonna try to do that. And then, do you want your last Freddie message here?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes,
What did
yes.
Freddie
You
say?
have, I would rather pay someone to do it, and they can call me when it's done, or ask my wife.
He's so funny. A true action, right? Like, just, I want to leave, you do it, I'll come back, tell me what's done. That's exactly it, right? So actions are probably hire somebody. Good point, honey. Yes, and I'll of course do it for you because that's what I do. But again, really understand how your personality is going to determine your approach. Go check out the minimum method. I'm going to post the steps on my Facebook page, so make sure you can go there. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and ask questions at facebook.com/The Clarity Strategist. And make sure next week I have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about communication. How can you transform your business just using communication? How can you improve your relationships? This guest is amazing. You're going to just absolutely love it. I was able to secure her as next week, so I'm not going to give you that. Also, guys, make sure that you check out Clarity Corner with Christiana every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Share it with your friends and engage with me. I'm here to serve you, to help you get what you need. We're going to continue to uncover what's holding you back and clouding your vision from communicating and thinking clearly. And we're going to get rid of the clutter that's blocking your success. Guys, have a great week, and we'll see you next week.